Picture this: the desert at night, the stars glittering like diamonds scattered across velvet, the great Sphinx crouched in eternal silence, and beneath its paws, so the legends whisper, a hidden chamber filled with scrolls, tablets, and cosmic maps. This is the Hall of Records, the most mysterious vault of wisdom ever imagined. Not a library of dusty papyrus for scholars, but a mythical archive said to contain the story of humanity itself, where we came from, what we knew, and perhaps even where we are going. The Hall of Records is not just a place. It is an idea, a symbol of forbidden knowledge. Ancient tales describe it as a chamber built by the priests of Thoth, the god of wisdom, who recorded every truth of the cosmos. Within its walls, they supposedly stored the Book of Thoth, star charts that mapped eternity, and prophecies of civilizations yet unborn. To some, it was a vault of salvation. To others, a dangerous treasure that could unravel the balance of the world if opened by the unworthy. Over centuries, seekers have dreamed of finding it. Archaeologists have scanned beneath the Sphinx. Mystics have meditated on its secrets, and conspiracy theorists have written entire volumes about its existence. Yet, the hall remains elusive, hidden in sand and silence, waiting like a bedtime story that never quite ends. If the hall exists, it could rewrite history. If it doesn't, it still tells us something profound about humanity's longing for hidden truth. Either way, the legend has survived for thousands of years, carried by whispers, myths, and the eternal gaze of the Sphinx. And now, as you drift into this sleepy tale, imagine yourself walking through the desert, hearing the hush of the wind, knowing that somewhere beneath your feet might lie the greatest library of eternity. And hey, before you nod off, like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments from where you're watching. Preferably not under the Sphinx, because internet down there is terrible. Long before archaeologists brought their tools to the sands of Giza, stories of a hidden chamber beneath the desert had already taken root in the imagination of Egypt. These legends spoke of a vault built not by ordinary hands, but by the priests of Thoth, designed to preserve the wisdom of the ages. The Hall of Records was said to contain scrolls that told the story of humanity's beginnings, maps of the stars that revealed the cycles of eternity, and prophecies of civilizations yet unborn. The myths grew richer with each retelling. Some claimed the hall was constructed during the reign of the earliest pharaohs, a gift from Thoth himself to ensure that knowledge would never be lost. Others whispered that it was older still, built by a forgotten civilization that predated Egypt, a people who understood the cosmos in ways modern minds can barely imagine. The Sphinx, crouched in silence, was said to guard the entrance, its gaze fixed on the horizon as though watching over secrets buried deep below. Greek travelers who visited Egypt carried these tales back to their homeland, weaving them into their own philosophies. Later, Roman writers added flourishes, imagining chambers filled with golden tablets and magical formulas. By the time the Renaissance arrived, the Hall of Records had become a symbol of ultimate wisdom, a library of eternity waiting to be rediscovered. Of course, legends have a way of exaggerating. One can almost picture a villager telling his children that beneath the Sphinx lay a chamber filled with scrolls, only for the children to ask if it also contained snacks. Even in the grandest myths, human curiosity always sneaks in with a touch of humor. Yet the persistence of these stories is telling. Across cultures and centuries, the idea of a hidden vault of knowledge has endured. suggesting that humanity has always longed for a place where truth is preserved, safe from the chaos of time. Whether real or imagined, the Hall of Records became more than a chamber. It became a dream, a promise that somewhere beneath stone and sand, the secrets of existence were waiting. In the grand tapestry of Egyptian mythology, few figures loom larger than Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and balance, depicted with the head of an ibis or sometimes a baboon. Thoth was not merely a divine scribe, he was the cosmic accountant, the one who recorded every truth of the universe. His role was to ensure that nothing was forgotten, that every action, every star's movement, and every soul's journey was inscribed in the eternal ledger of existence. The priests revered him as the ultimate guardian of knowledge. They believed Thoth invented hieroglyphs, giving humanity the gift of writing so that wisdom could be preserved across generations. He was said to have measured the heavens, calculated the cycles of the moon, and devised the calendar that guided agriculture and ritual. In the afterlife, Thoth stood beside the scales of Mat, recording the judgment of souls as their hearts were weighed against the feather of truth. But Thoth's role extended beyond record-keeping. He was the mediator between gods, the one who resolved disputes and restored balance when chaos threatened. In myths, when the sun god Ra grew weary, Thoth spoke words of power to renew him. When Isis sought to resurrect Osiris, Thoth provided the formulas. The priests believed that only through discipline and reverence could one approach such knowledge safely. Humor sneaks in when we imagine Thoth, the divine scribe, patiently recording every detail of human life, from the rise of empires to someone forgetting where they left their sandals. Even gods, it seems, had paperwork. For the Egyptians, Thoth was more than a myth. He was the principle of knowledge itself, the reminder that wisdom must be balanced with responsibility. As the keeper of records, divine and earthly, he became the silent guardian of forbidden truths, ensuring that eternity was written not in sand, but in the language of the cosmos. The priests of Thoth did not hide their wisdom out of cruelty, but out of caution. They believed that certain truths about life, death, the cosmos, and the soul were too powerful to be placed in the hands of the unprepared. Knowledge was not simply information, it was energy, and energy misused could unravel the delicate balance of the universe. To the public, myths and rituals were shared, stories of gods sailing across the sky, festivals filled with music, chants to honor the Nile. These were comforting, guiding, and safe. But behind those stories lay deeper meanings, formulas for immortality, maps of the afterlife, and chants that could alter consciousness. To reveal these openly would risk chaos. A farmer might misuse a spell meant for cosmic alignment. A ruler might exploit star charts to claim divine authority, or an ambitious seeker might attempt immortality without discipline, unleashing madness instead of enlightenment. Forbidden knowledge was also political. Kings and elites depended on fear of death and ignorance of cosmic law to maintain control. If ordinary people realized that the soul was eternal, that the stars dictated cycles, or that rituals could grant visions of eternity, rulers would lose their monopoly on power. The priests guarded wisdom, not only to protect humanity, but to preserve hierarchies. Scrolls were locked in chambers, rituals performed in silence, and initiates sworn to secrecy. To break these rules was considered a crime against both gods and society. The priests taught that wisdom was a burden, not a privilege, and only those who had passed trials of discipline and reverence could carry it safely. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a villager asking a priest for the secret of immortality, only to be told a charming story about planting crops in season, a polite way of saying, "Not yet." The gap between public myth and hidden truth was wide, but it kept society stable. Thus, the knowledge remained forbidden. It was not hidden because it was false, but because it was too vast, too dangerous, and too easily misused. The priests of Thoth carried it silently, waiting for the day when humanity would be ready to awaken to truths that whispered still in stone and stars. The guardians of the Hall of Records were not kings or warriors, but priests, men who devoted their lives to silence, ritual, and the preservation of wisdom. In ancient Egypt, priests were more than religious figures. They were astronomers, mathematicians, healers, and scribes. Their role was to bridge the mortal and the divine, ensuring that the balance of the cosmos was maintained through knowledge and ceremony. The priests of Thoth were considered the most disciplined of all. They swore oaths of secrecy, promising never to reveal the forbidden truths hidden in scrolls and chambers. Their daily lives were filled with rituals, chanting hymns at dawn, aligning temples with the stars, recording the movements of the heavens, and safeguarding texts that contained formulas for immortality and cosmic law. To them, knowledge was not a privilege, but a burden, one that required silence and restraint. They were also the keepers of calendars, guiding agriculture by predicting the Nile's flood through the rising of Sirius. They advised rulers not with political strategies, but with cosmic timing, ensuring that festivals and coronations aligned with celestial rhythms. In this way, priests quietly shaped the destiny of Egypt, their wisdom woven into the very fabric of society. Yet their greatest duty was to guard the Hall of Records. Legends say they performed rituals to protect its chambers, invoking Thoth's blessing to ensure that only the worthy could approach. To the outside world, they offered myths and ceremonies. Within the temple walls, they studied scrolls that spoke of eternity. Their silence was both shield and sacrifice. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a priest, after hours of solemn chanting, being asked by a villager if he could predict when goats would stop eating the crops. Even guardians of cosmic law had to deal with everyday complaints. The role of Egyptian priests was thus twofold: to serve the people with rituals that sustained daily life, and to guard the forbidden wisdom that sustained eternity. They were the quiet architects of balance, ensuring that the secrets of Thoth remained hidden until humanity was ready to awaken. The sands of Egypt have swallowed countless treasures, but none more tantalizing than the sacred texts said to have been hidden by the priests of Thoth. These writings were not ordinary scrolls of hymns or agricultural records. They were believed to contain formulas for immortality, maps of the cosmos, and chants that could alter consciousness itself. To the priests, these texts were the heartbeat of forbidden wisdom, too powerful to be left in the hands of the unprepared. Legends speak of scrolls locked away in temple chambers, buried beneath stone, or hidden in the mythical Hall of Records. Some were said to describe the soul's journey through the afterlife, offering detailed instructions for navigating Duat, the shadowy realm of trials. Others contained astronomical charts, so precise they could predict floods, eclipses, and even the rise and fall of empires. Still others whispered of the Book of Thoth, a text so dangerous it was said to grant visions of eternity or madness, depending on the reader's worthiness. Over centuries, many of these texts vanished. Conquests, fires, and the slow erosion of time erased libraries and temples. The great library of Alexandria, often imagined as a repository of Egyptian wisdom, was destroyed, taking with it countless scrolls that may have carried fragments of Thoth's teachings. What survived were echoes, inscriptions on temple walls, fragments of papyrus, and myths retold by Greek and Roman writers. The loss of these texts created a paradox. On one hand, humanity was protected from knowledge too vast and dangerous. On the other, we were deprived of insights that could have transformed our understanding of life, death, and the cosmos. The priests believed this was necessary, that silence was the shield that kept balance intact. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a priest carefully hiding a scroll, only for a curious mouse to nibble at its edges, unknowingly erasing a formula for immortality. Even forbidden wisdom was not immune to the everyday mischief of time. Thus, the sacred texts became legends themselves, lost to history, preserved only in whispers and fragments, whether buried beneath the Sphinx or scattered across forgotten tombs. They remain symbols of humanity's eternal longing for hidden truth, reminders that some knowledge is too powerful to be carried lightly. Among the most tantalizing whispers of Egyptian lore lies the Book of Thoth, a text so legendary that it has been described as both a gift of the gods and a curse upon mortals. Said to have been written by Thoth himself, the divine scribe and keeper of wisdom. The book was believed to contain the very formulas of the cosmos, instructions for immortality spells, to commune with the gods, and secrets that could bend reality itself. The priests treated the Book of Thoth with reverence and fear. It was not a manual for casual readers. It was a test of worthiness. Legends claimed that those who read it without discipline would be driven to madness, overwhelmed by truths too vast for the human mind. Yet for the initiated, the book offered visions of eternity, guiding the soul through the afterlife and revealing the hidden laws that governed existence. Stories describe the book as containing hymns that could summon divine beings, diagrams of the stars that mapped the cycles of time, and chants that unlocked the doors of consciousness. Some versions even suggest it held the power to resurrect the dead or grant mastery over the elements. Whether these were literal abilities or symbolic teachings, the message was clear. The Book of Thoth was the ultimate repository of forbidden knowledge. Over centuries, fragments of its legend spread beyond Egypt. Greek philosophers spoke of texts that revealed cosmic harmony, while Hermetic writings echoed its themes of transformation and balance. Medieval alchemists dreamed of discovering its pages, convinced it held the formula for turning lead into gold, only to find that the true treasure was self-mastery. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a curious villager stumbling upon the book, expecting recipes for better bread, only to be confronted with diagrams of the soul's journey through eternity. Not exactly light reading before bed. The Book of Thoth remains a mystery, perhaps a literal scroll hidden in the Hall of Records, perhaps a metaphor for the wisdom carried by the priests. Either way, it symbolizes the burden of knowledge, powerful, transformative, and dangerous if misused. It is the reminder that some truths are not meant to be read casually, but carried with reverence, silence, and discipline. Few artifacts in the realm of legend have captured imaginations quite like the emerald tablets, often attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a figure blending the Egyptian god Thoth with the Greek Hermes. These mysterious writings are said to condense the wisdom of the cosmos into cryptic, poetic lines. Their most famous phrase, "as above, so below," became the cornerstone of Hermetic philosophy, expressing the idea that the heavens and the earth mirror one another, and that understanding one reveals the other. The connection between the Emerald Tablets and the Hall of Records lies in their shared themes. Both are imagined as repositories of forbidden knowledge. Both speak of immortality and transformation, and both emphasize balance between the material and the spiritual. The priests of Thoth were believed to guard texts that echoed the same principles later crystallized in the tablets: the soul's journey, the cycles of civilizations, and the hidden laws of nature. Legends suggest that fragments of the tablets may have been inspired by or derived from the scrolls locked away in the Hall of Records. Whether literal or symbolic, the link is clear. The wisdom of Thoth did not vanish with Egypt's decline, but transformed, carried forward in Hermetic writings that influenced philosophers, alchemists, and mystics for centuries. The tablets also spoke of alchemy, not merely as the transformation of metals, but as the refinement of the self. This mirrors the Egyptian initiation rituals, where candidates symbolically died to their old selves and were reborn as guardians of wisdom. Both traditions taught that true immortality was not physical but spiritual, achieved through discipline and alignment with cosmic law. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a medieval scholar poring over the tablets, convinced he's about to unlock the secret of turning lead into gold, only to discover that the real treasure is a reminder to live with balance and patience. Eternity, it seems, always comes with a moral lesson. Thus, the Emerald Tablets became the bridge between Egypt's forbidden wisdom and the esoteric traditions of later ages. Whether carved in stone or written in myth, they carried forward the voice of Thoth, ensuring that the secrets of the Hall of Records would echo across time, disguised in symbols but waiting for seekers ready to understand. In the temples of Egypt, wisdom was never handed out freely. The priests of Thoth believed that knowledge was a sacred fire, capable of illuminating the soul, but equally capable of burning those who touched it without preparation. To protect both the seeker and the balance of the cosmos, they created a system of initiation, a series of trials designed to test discipline, silence, and reverence. Only those who passed these trials were allowed to glimpse the forbidden truths hidden in scrolls and chambers. Initiation was not a single ceremony, but a journey. Candidates were taught to master silence, to endure isolation, and to confront symbolic death before being reborn into wisdom. Rituals often involved fasting, meditation, and the memorization of sacred chants. Each step was meant to strip away ego and prepare the soul for truths too vast for ordinary minds. The Hall of Records, whether real or symbolic, was imagined as the final destination of this journey, a vault of eternity accessible only to those who had proven themselves worthy. The secrecy was absolute. Initiates swore oaths never to reveal what they had learned, knowing that betrayal meant not only punishment in this life, but condemnation in the afterlife. To carry forbidden wisdom was to carry a burden, one that demanded discipline and silence. The priests believed that only through such restraint could knowledge remain pure. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a nervous initiate expecting dramatic cosmic revelations, only to be handed a scroll filled with complex star charts and chants. Not exactly the bedtime story he had hoped for, but a reminder that wisdom often comes dressed in patience and detail. Thus, knowledge meant only for the initiated was not hidden out of arrogance, but necessity. It was a safeguard, ensuring that cosmic truths were preserved without being misused. The priests of Thoth carried this burden silently, passing it only to those who had proven themselves ready, ensuring that forbidden wisdom remained a treasure guarded by discipline and reverence. The priests of Thoth carried a burden that was both noble and controversial, deciding whether humanity should be shielded from forbidden wisdom or whether that shielding was, in truth, a form of control. To them, knowledge was not neutral. It was a force that could uplift or destroy, depending on who wielded it. The Hall of Records, with its scrolls and cosmic maps, symbolized this dilemma. On one hand, the priests believed they were protecting humanity. If ordinary people learned that the soul was eternal, that rituals could alter consciousness, or that cosmic laws dictated the rise and fall of civilizations, chaos might follow. Farmers might abandon their fields to chase immortality. Rulers might exploit star charts to claim divine authority. And seekers without discipline might unleash madness instead of enlightenment. By keeping wisdom hidden, the priests ensured stability, shielding society from truths too vast for daily life. On the other hand, secrecy also meant control. By guarding knowledge, the priests held power over rulers and citizens alike. They became the gatekeepers of eternity, deciding who was worthy to know and who must remain in ignorance. This monopoly on wisdom gave them influence far beyond ritual. It allowed them to shape the destiny of Egypt itself. Was this protection, or was it manipulation dressed in sacred robes? The paradox is timeless. To hide knowledge is to preserve balance, but it is also to deny freedom. Convinced that silence was the shield humanity needed. Yet whispers of resentment surely lingered among those who suspected that the truth was being withheld, not for their safety, but for the preservation of authority. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a villager asking a priest why the stars move as they do, only to be told a charming myth about gods rowing boats across the sky, while the priest secretly holds scrolls with precise astronomical charts. Protection or control? Perhaps both, depending on perspective. It became a symbol of the eternal tension between safeguarding humanity and controlling it. The priests of Thoth believed they were guardians, but history leaves us wondering whether their silence was a gift of protection or a strategy of power. Beneath the sands of Egypt lies a mystery that has fascinated explorers, archaeologists, and dreamers for centuries. The possibility of hidden chambers, secret vaults carved into stone, waiting silently beneath temples and monuments. Among these, none has stirred more speculation than the idea that the Hall of Records rests beneath the Giza Plateau, concealed under the watchful gaze of the Great Sphinx. Legends describe these chambers as vast underground libraries filled with scrolls and tablets that preserve the wisdom of Thoth. Some stories claim they were built during the earliest dynasties, while others insist they predate Egypt itself, constructed by a forgotten civilization that understood the cosmos in ways modern minds can scarcely imagine. The Sphinx, crouched in eternal silence, was said to guard the entrance, its gaze fixed on the horizon, as though watching over secrets buried deep below. Archaeologists have long searched for evidence of these hidden rooms. In the 20th century, explorers used ground-penetrating radar around the Sphinx and reported anomalies, voids beneath the stone that could be chambers. Excavations have revealed tunnels and cavities, though none have yet yielded the legendary library. Still, the whispers persist, fueled by the tantalizing possibility that beneath the sand lies a vault of eternity. The priests of Thoth were believed to have sealed these chambers with rituals, invoking divine protection to ensure that only the worthy could enter. To the outside world, they offered myths and ceremonies. Within the hidden vaults, they stored scrolls that spoke of immortality, cosmic law, and the soul's journey. The silence was both shield and sacrifice, ensuring that forbidden wisdom remained untouched. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a modern archaeologist, after years of careful excavation, finally opening a chamber only to find not scrolls of eternity, but a collection of ancient shopping lists. Even legends, after all, have a way of teasing the curious. Whether real or imagined, the idea of hidden chambers beneath Egypt endures because it speaks to humanity's longing for discovery. The sands may conceal secrets, but the dream of uncovering them keeps the legend alive. The Hall of Records remains the ultimate symbol of this mystery, a vault of wisdom waiting patiently beneath stone and silence, guarded by the eternal gaze of the Sphinx. Few monuments in the world inspire as much awe and mystery as the great Sphinx of Giza, carved from limestone. Crouched with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, it has watched over the desert for thousands of years. Yet beneath its silent gaze lies one of the most enduring legends, that the Sphinx guards the entrance to the Hall of Records, the mythical vault of wisdom said to contain the secrets of Thoth. Ancient tales describe the Sphinx not merely as a monument, but as a sentinel. Its massive paws were imagined to conceal hidden passageways leading to chambers filled with scrolls and tablets. These chambers, according to legend, held the story of humanity's origins, cosmic maps of the stars, and prophecies of civilizations yet unborn. The priests of Thoth were said to have sealed them with rituals, ensuring that only the worthy could enter. Modern explorers have long been fascinated by this possibility. In the 20th century, ground-penetrating radar surveys around the Sphinx revealed anomalies beneath the stone voids that could be chambers. Excavations uncovered tunnels and cavities, though none have yet yielded the legendary library. Still, the whispers persist, fueled by the tantalizing idea that beneath the paws of the Sphinx lies a vault of eternity. The symbolism is powerful. The lion's body represents strength, the human head wisdom, and together they embody the guardianship of knowledge. To imagine the Hall of Records beneath the Sphinx is to see wisdom protected by both power and silence, a reminder that forbidden truths are not easily uncovered. Humor sneaks in when we picture a modern archaeologist finally opening a chamber beneath the Sphinx, expecting scrolls of cosmic law, only to find ancient notes reminding workers to bring more bread and beer. Even eternity, it seems, had paperwork, whether real or imagined. The connection between the Sphinx and the Hall of Records endures because it speaks to humanity's longing for discovery. The Sphinx crouches in silence, its gaze fixed on the horizon, guarding secrets that may never be revealed. Yet the legend itself is enough to keep the dream alive, that beneath stone and sand lies a library of eternity, waiting patiently for seekers who dare to look. The story of the Hall of Records is inseparable from the idea that the ancients possessed wisdom far beyond what we often credit them with. To the priests of Thoth, knowledge was not limited to farming cycles or temple rituals. It was a vast tapestry woven from astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and the mysteries of consciousness itself. Their wisdom was advanced not because it relied on machines or technology, but because it was rooted in observation, discipline, and a profound sense of cosmic order. The Egyptians charted the stars with remarkable precision, aligning temples and pyramids to celestial events. They understood the cycles of Sirius and the Nile, predicting floods that sustained agriculture. Their medical texts revealed treatments for wounds, diseases, and even surgical practices, all recorded with care. Mathematics guided their architecture, producing monuments that still stand today, their proportions echoing cosmic harmony. But beyond the practical, the priests carried knowledge of the soul. They believed consciousness was not confined to the body, but part of a larger cosmic rhythm. Rituals were designed to expand awareness, chants to align the mind with eternity, and initiations to strip away ego so that the seeker could glimpse truths hidden from ordinary perception. This blending of science, spirituality, and symbolism created a wisdom that felt timeless, advanced in ways modern minds still struggle to grasp. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a priest carefully recording astronomical data, only to be interrupted by someone asking if he can predict when goats will stop eating the crops. Even guardians of cosmic law had to deal with everyday nuisances. The advanced wisdom of the ancients was not about gadgets or inventions, but about harmony, the alignment of human life with cosmic cycles. The Hall of Records, whether real or symbolic, represented the vault where this wisdom was preserved. It was a reminder that knowledge is not only about progress, but about balance, and that the greatest secrets of the ancients were not lost technologies, but timeless truths waiting to be rediscovered. The wisdom preserved by the priests of Thoth was never divided into neat categories, the way modern minds separate science from spirituality. For them, magic, science, and consciousness were threads of the same tapestry, woven together to reveal the hidden laws of the cosmos. What we might call magic today was, in their eyes, simply the application of knowledge, formulas, chants, and rituals designed to align human life with universal rhythms. Magic was not about tricks or illusions, but about transformation. The priests believed words carried power, that chants could alter states of consciousness, and that symbols could bridge the material and the divine. A ritual performed at the right time, under the right stars, was not superstition, but a precise act of cosmic alignment. Science, too, was sacred. The Egyptians studied the stars with remarkable precision, charting cycles that guided agriculture and ritual. They measured the heavens, devised calendars, and built monuments aligned with celestial events. Their medicine combined practical treatments with spiritual understanding, recognizing that the body and soul were inseparable. To them, healing was not only physical, but also energetic, a restoration of balance. Consciousness was the bridge between magic and science. The priests taught that the mind was not confined to the body, but part of a larger cosmic rhythm. Through meditation, fasting, and initiation, seekers could expand awareness, glimpse eternity, and align themselves with truths hidden from ordinary perception. Consciousness was both the tool and the treasure, the means by which forbidden wisdom could be carried safely. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a priest carefully recording astronomical data, only to be interrupted by someone asking if he can use a chant to make goats stop eating the crops. Even guardians of cosmic law had to deal with everyday nuisances. Thus, magic, science, and consciousness were not separate disciplines, but facets of the same pursuit, understanding and aligning with the cosmos. The Hall of Records, whether real or symbolic, represented the vault where this unified wisdom was preserved. It was a reminder that the greatest secrets of the ancients were not lost technologies, but timeless truths, that the universe is a harmony, and that to live wisely is to live in tune with its eternal song. The forbidden wisdom of Thoth, preserved in scrolls and whispered in temple chambers, did not vanish overnight. Its disappearance was the result of centuries of erosion, conquest, and silence. The priests who guarded the Hall of Records believed that knowledge was a burden, one that demanded discipline and reverence. Yet history has a way of scattering even the most carefully guarded treasures. One reason the secrets disappeared was deliberate concealment. The priests locked scrolls in hidden chambers, swore oaths of silence, and passed teachings only to initiates. Over time, as dynasties fell and temples crumbled, these hidden texts were lost to sand and stone. What remained were fragments, inscriptions on walls, myths retold in stories, and echoes carried into later traditions. Another reason was conquest. Egypt was invaded repeatedly by Persians, Greeks, Romans, and others. Each wave of conquest disrupted temples, burned libraries, and scattered scrolls. The Great Library of Alexandria, often imagined as a repository of Egyptian wisdom, was destroyed, taking with it countless texts that may have carried fragments of Thoth's teachings. What survived was often misunderstood or reinterpreted through foreign lenses. Time itself was a thief. Papyrus decayed, monuments eroded, and oral traditions faded. Even the most carefully preserved scrolls could not withstand centuries of neglect. The sands of Egypt swallowed chambers, sealing them away from curious hands. Yet perhaps the most profound reason was silence. The priests believed humanity was not ready for forbidden wisdom. They chose secrecy over revelation, ensuring that cosmic truths remained hidden until seekers could carry them safely. In this way, disappearance was not loss, but preservation, a deliberate act to protect both humanity and the balance of the cosmos. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a priest carefully hiding a scroll of eternity, only for a curious goat to wander into the temple and chew it to pieces. Even cosmic secrets were not immune to everyday mischief. Thus, the disappearance of these secrets was not a single tragedy, but a long, complex process. Conquest, decay, and silence all played their part. The Hall of Records, whether real or symbolic, became the vault of what was lost, a reminder that wisdom, once hidden, can vanish from sight, but never entirely from memory. The whispers of Thoth's teachings endure, waiting for seekers who dream beneath the stars. The wisdom of Thoth was never meant for all eyes. The priests believed that truth was a sacred fire, capable of illuminating the soul, but equally capable of consuming those who touched it without preparation. to protect both humanity and the balance of the cosmos. They created strict boundaries around who was permitted to know the forbidden secrets. Only initiates who had passed through trials of discipline, silence, and reverence were allowed access. These trials were not mere ceremonies, but profound tests of character, fasting to prove endurance, meditation to quiet the mind, and symbolic death to strip away ego. Those who emerged transformed were considered worthy to carry fragments of the hidden wisdom. Rulers, too, were sometimes granted glimpses, though never the full truth. Pharaohs were taught enough to reinforce their divine authority, aligning their reign with cosmic law, but the deepest secrets remained in the hands of the priests. This ensured that power was balanced. Rulers could govern, but only the priests could guard eternity. For the common people, myths and rituals were shared instead of cosmic formulas. Stories of gods sailing across the sky, festivals filled with music, and chants to honor the Nile were offered as symbolic truths safe for daily life. The deeper meanings, maps of the soul, formulas for immortality, and chants that altered consciousness remained hidden behind temple walls. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a curious villager asking a priest for the secret of eternity, only to be told a charming tale about planting crops in season, a polite way of saying, "Not yet." Thus, the truth was reserved for the few initiates who had proven themselves, priests who carried the burden of silence, and rulers who needed fragments to sustain their authority. The Hall of Records, whether real or symbolic, was not a library for all, but a vault for the worthy. In this way, forbidden wisdom remained protected, waiting for seekers who could carry it with discipline, reverence, and balance. The question of whether the Hall of Records still exists beneath the sands of Egypt is one that continues to stir both scholarly debate and mystical imagination. For centuries, explorers, archaeologists, and seekers of hidden wisdom have speculated that somewhere under the Giza Plateau, perhaps beneath the Great Sphinx, or within the pyramids, lies a chamber untouched by time, holding scrolls and tablets that preserve the forbidden knowledge of Thoth. Modern archaeology has uncovered tunnels, cavities, and anomalies beneath the Sphinx and surrounding structures. Ground-penetrating radar surveys in the late 20th century revealed voids that could be chambers, though none have yet yielded the legendary library. Excavations have found passages and hidden rooms within pyramids, but no definitive evidence of the Hall of Records has been brought to light. Still, the possibility remains tantalizing, especially given how much of Egypt's ancient architecture is still unexplored or buried beneath shifting sands. Mystics and esoteric traditions insist that the hall was deliberately concealed, protected by rituals and cosmic alignments, waiting for humanity to reach a level of maturity where its wisdom could be safely revealed. To them, the absence of discovery is not proof of non-existence, but evidence of divine guardianship. The Sphinx, crouched in silence, is imagined as the eternal sentinel, guarding secrets until the right moment arrives. Skeptics argue that the Hall of Records is purely symbolic, a metaphor for the wisdom carried by the priests of Thoth, fragments of which survive in myths, inscriptions, and hermetic texts. In this view, the hall exists not beneath stone, but within the collective memory of humanity, waiting to be rediscovered through study and spiritual awakening. Humor sneaks in when we imagine a modern archaeologist finally opening a hidden chamber, expecting scrolls of eternity, only to find ancient notes reminding workers to bring more bread and beer. Even legends, it seems, must contend with everyday life. Thus, the Hall of Records may or may not exist as a physical chamber, but as a symbol it endures. Whether buried beneath the Sphinx or hidden in the human spirit, it represents humanity's eternal longing for truth, the dream that somewhere, preserved against time, lies a vault of wisdom waiting patiently for seekers who dare to look. Ground-penetrating radar surveys conducted in the late 20th and early 21st centuries around the Great Sphinx and the Pyramid of Khafre revealed anomalies and voids beneath the structures. Some researchers interpret these as possible chambers, though excavations have not confirmed the existence of a library. Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities has allowed limited exploration, but most findings remain inconclusive. Chambers and tunnels have been discovered, yet none contain scrolls or artifacts resembling the legendary Hall of Records. Edgar Case's claims 1930s case, a clairvoyant, asserted that refugees from Atlantis built the Hall of Records beneath the Sphinx to preserve their knowledge. His ideas influenced New Age movements and continue to inspire seekers. Atlantis connection. Some pseudo-historical theories link the hall to a lost civilization, suggesting the Giza Plateau was chosen as a repository of wisdom from a pre-Egyptian culture. Scholars using radar waves reported mysterious cylindrical objects more than 2,000 feet beneath the Pyramid of Khafre, reigniting speculation that the pyramid sits atop a hidden library. This claim triggered international debate, with skeptics dismissing it as misinterpretation of geological formations. Mainstream Egyptologists argue that the Hall of Records is mythical rather than historical, pointing out that no inscriptions or credible archaeological evidence mention such a library. They emphasized that anomalies detected by radar could be natural voids, construction cavities, or unexplored tombs, not vast underground libraries. Some scholars suggest the Hall of Records is metaphorical, representing the collective wisdom of humanity rather than a physical chamber. In this view, fragments of Egyptian texts, Hermetic writings, and myths are the records that survived. The enduring fascination reflects humanity's longing for hidden truth, a vault of wisdom that explains our origins and destiny. Theories about Atlantis and hidden libraries often blur the line between science and speculation, risking misinformation. Tourism and politics. Claims of hidden chambers fuel public interest, but also create tension between scientific caution and sensationalism. One can imagine a modern archaeologist, after years of anticipation, finally opening a chamber beneath the Sphinx, only to find ancient workers, notes about bread and beer deliveries. Even legends must contend with everyday life. Modern discoveries have revealed intriguing anomalies beneath Egypt's monuments, but no definitive evidence of the Hall of Records has been found. Theories range from Case's Atlantean library to radar-detected voids beneath Khafre's pyramid, yet mainstream scholars remain skeptical. Whether myth, metaphor, or hidden truth, the Hall of Records continues to inspire exploration and imagination. The discovery of the Hall of Records, whether beneath the Sphinx, within the pyramids, or hidden in some forgotten chamber, would be nothing short of revolutionary. It would not simply be an archaeological triumph. It would reshape our understanding of history, spirituality, and humanity's place in the cosmos. If scrolls or tablets were uncovered, they might reveal knowledge predating Egypt, perhaps even pointing to a lost civilization like Atlantis. This would challenge established timelines and force historians to reconsider the roots of human culture. Legends long dismissed as symbolic could suddenly be seen as literal truths. The blending of myth and history would blur the line between story and fact. Texts might contain astronomical charts, medical formulas, or mathematical systems far beyond what we believed ancient civilizations possessed. Such discoveries could inspire new scientific breakthroughs. If the records include rituals or chants designed to expand awareness, modern science might gain insights into the nature of consciousness itself. Religions worldwide would grapple with the implications of texts describing the soul's journey, immortality, or cosmic law. Some might embrace the findings, while others could resist them as heretical. The hall could become a source of unity, offering a shared vision of humanity's destiny, or a source of conflict, as groups interpret its wisdom differently. Religious institutions and corporations might compete to control access to the hall, turning wisdom into a weapon of influence. Just as the priests feared, forbidden wisdom could be exploited for personal gain, destabilizing societies rather than uplifting them. The sudden revelation of truths hidden for millennia could unsettle traditions, identities, and beliefs. Imagine the world holding its breath as archaeologists open the chamber, expecting scrolls of eternity, only to find ancient notes about temple construction schedules and beer rations. Even the most profound discoveries might come with reminders of everyday life. If the Hall of Records were found, humanity would face both opportunity and peril. It could usher in a new age of enlightenment, offering wisdom that bridges science and spirituality. Yet it could also unleash chaos if misused or misunderstood. The priests of Thoth may have hidden the hall not to deny us forever, but to ensure that when it is found, we are ready to carry its truths with reverence, discipline, and balance. The tale of the Hall of Records, the priests of Thoth, and the forbidden wisdom hidden beneath stone and silence has carried us across centuries of myth, mystery, and longing. At its heart lies a paradox. Knowledge is both a gift and a burden. To reveal it too freely risks chaos. To conceal it too tightly risks stagnation. The priests believed silence was the shield humanity needed, and whether we agree or not, their choice ensured that the legend endured. Forbidden knowledge is not simply about scrolls locked in chambers or cosmic maps etched on tablets. It is about the eternal tension between curiosity and caution, between the desire to know and the responsibility to carry what is known. Every civilization has whispered of hidden truths, and every seeker has dreamed of discovering them. The Hall of Records, whether real or symbolic, remains the ultimate vault of that dream. Perhaps the greatest lesson is that wisdom is not lost, but transformed. Fragments survive in myths, rituals, and philosophies across cultures. The vault may be buried beneath the Sphinx or hidden within the human spirit, but the longing for truth continues to guide us. In this way, forbidden knowledge is never truly gone. It waits patiently, disguised in symbols, until seekers are ready to understand. And so, the story closes like the desert at night, quiet and endless beneath the stars. The Sphinx still crouches in silence, guarding secrets that may never be revealed, while the whispers of Thoth drift like sand across time, whether the Hall of Records lies beneath stone or within the soul. Its wisdom remains a reminder that some truths must be carried with reverence. The journey through forbidden knowledge has ended for now. Let the sands rest, let the stars keep watch, and let your mind drift into dreams where mysteries live on. Good night.